Okay, so this is App Development and Entrepreneurship Week 6. In the past, we've talked about a lot of different considerations when it comes to actually creating your app, the different concepts in your app, ensuring that your app is secure, through encryption, authorization, authentication, and of course, the importance of coding and other basic important tools when creating apps. And we've also talked about ways to actually make money on your app. So it goes to say that marketing is a critical or important part of your app. Marketing, in very short, is bringing your app to more people, making sure that people know about your app, which is the first step for people to actually download the app. So I want to actually ask y'all to remember the first time when you've actually heard of YouTube or Instagram, Facebook. Maybe it was because of your parents. In that case, perhaps ask your parents or whoever told you about YouTube, ask them where they heard it from. Eventually it would have came from some marketing aspect, some marketing campaign, a video or posts or something from YouTube themselves. They go out and they share it to others. So in some forms, it always originates from the app itself, which means it always originates from you, the app creator. There's many different steps and ways to actually market your app to more people or make more people aware about it and naturally install it, download it, and eventually perhaps make purchases on your app or do whatever your app is supposed to do or do whatever they're supposed to do on your app. So some steps include performing market research, using App Store optimization, a very cool sounding word. We're going to go into it. Paid advertising, and finally, organic channels. So yeah, just stay tuned. All these are going to make a lot more sense in a few moments. We have market research starting off. This includes understanding your potential customers. So every app has its own stakeholder customer segment. This ties straight into entrepreneurship. Your app was created to solve a problem or, serve a specific need. You want to know who actually has those needs. Who are your ideal users? Who are the people who are actually going to benefit from your app? And those are the people you want to market your app to because those are, at the end of the day, your potential customers. Think about it. Perhaps you're creating an app that somehow tracks the amount of shots you've taken, in basketball. So the amount of free throw shots and your accuracy. Maybe if you position your phone in a certain way that faces towards the hoop, your phone will measure, the way you actually shoot into the hoop, and more importantly, how you can actually better position yourself in order to have higher accuracy. That's just an example of your app. In that case, your ideal user, your potential customers are people who play basketball, basketball enthusiasts, and you want to make sure that you market your app towards them. So this is market research. You need to know how many basketball enthusiasts are there in the world, in the United States, online, and you want to know how many of them use whether the Apple App Store, Google Play Store. You want to know where to actually position your resources because at the end of the day, marketing almost always costs a certain amount of money. You want to know how to best make use of your money so that you can have the highest reach to your customer segment, which in this example are basketball enthusiasts. You also want to know whether there are other similar apps or competitors. Maybe they're, in the basketball app, maybe there's another app that does something very similar. Maybe it was created a few years before your app. You want to know how many similar apps are there. And just because there are similar apps, this is important to know, just because there are competitors, people competing with you for users, it doesn't mean you should not create that app. In fact, you should create that app. But instead, it means that you should focus on finding one unique aspect or a few unique aspects, unique areas that you can expand further than your competitors. This is called a unique value proposition. I think we've covered this. And it really, really gives you the edge when it comes to users. Just a simple step as making your app easier to log into or open, even less lag, that can really, really make the game changer when it comes to user choosing your app over someone else's app. And I can't stress the really part enough because these are just small fixes that can really make a huge difference. So market research, in short, is all about understanding your potential customers, going through all that number, all those numbers, all that data, and understanding who's actually going to benefit from your app. And using this market research, we're able to identify ways to actually better reach those customers with information about your app. One good way to do this, is App Store optimization. What App Store optimization is, it's basically the process of using different parts of your app in order to ensure that it shows up in more search results. Taking that basketball enthusiast idea from the beginning, if a student wants to search if a student searches basketball training on the app store, whether the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store, you want to make sure that your app shows up in the search results, and especially at the top of the search result. It should be like the first or second search result that shows up. And that's generally through App Store optimization. In very simple terms, app stores have different algorithms in place that allow certain apps to show up in search results based on what the App Store feels would be most useful to the user. Because at the end of the day, the App Store wants you to download apps from it. That's its purpose. There are many different ways the App Store algorithms are gonna, show your app in the top of the search results. These include using special keywords, whether it's in the title of the app or, more usually in the description or elsewhere. It also includes your app title itself. The title can be a very crucial part, especially if it's catchy. I think I'll let y'all think of some catchy titles for a basketball, training game. Your logo is also pretty important. It's very memorable. And I think this really ties into the very first app development session where we go over the symbolism of the logo. Finally, high quality screenshots of the app itself. These include how your app looks, how users experience your app, and it can really act as a preview for users to understand what's actually going to be going on in your app. And finally, it also includes descriptions, of course. That your descriptions, as mentioned before, the keywords there, play a crucial part in the App Store optimization process. So in short, App Store optimization is the process of your app showing at the top of search results. And that, by extension, makes your app more likely to be downloaded. There's also paid advertising. These are the ads you see all the time on YouTube or Instagram or wherever. The goal of this is just to market your app to other people, on these very big platforms, YouTube, Instagram, which is also Meta. So when you say Meta, we're talking about Instagram or Facebook generally. And yes, so app install ads are a major part. You also have customer profiles. What are customer profiles? This is a very interesting thing, especially if y'all are going into entrepreneurship. Y'all want to know what a customer profile is. Customer profile, in very short, are characteristics of your potential customer. Now, just to elaborate further, for the basketball enthusiast game, customer profile could be maybe a college student, college professional basketball player who is very physically active, very health conscious for that matter. Very young, of course, they're college students. So, young adults. And very sports oriented as well, sports and oriented. They watch a lot of sports videos on, social media. And yes, so these are customer profiles. These are different information about your customers. And this goes back to market research. You want to know as much as you can about your potential customers so you're able to reach them in the most effective way possible. And then there are also target apps. The word target apps, it can mean a bunch of different things. What it often does mean, these are apps, these help you target your app towards certain people. It can also be apps that your customers tend to use a lot more. So you really want to know specific venue that you're going to be using your advertising, whether you want to advertise on YouTube or Instagram, Facebook. For example, YouTube tends to be used by the general public. Instagram tends to be used by younger adults. Yeah. And Facebook tends to be used by slightly older individuals as well. So there's many different demographics that you want to consider when it comes to target apps. One critical thing, and I really need to stress this out, is you want to make your app advertisements fun, memorable, and unique. I'm sure y'all know what these words mean, but just think about how many times you'll have come across that YouTube ad and you might have just groaned. You might be, done with YouTube ads at this point. They just come out randomly. And you need to think about it from the perspective of the average viewer. Same with Instagram too, Instagram, Facebook. They've seen so many YouTube ads out there, and it's almost their instinct, their default mode. Just click skip ad. Now, how can you actually make sure that they don't skip your ad? At least watch maybe the first 10 seconds of your ad. How can you like hold them back? You can do this by making your ads actually memorable at the very least. Do something fun, do something original. Think about some of the YouTube shorts or reels that have actually kept your attention. Why were they exciting? And you should use those in your app, in your ads. I can tell you that every single app has certain characteristics that can be used in these fun, memorable ads that can really take your user base to the next level. Because at the end of the day, you want the users to actually watch your ad, even if you don't download it, even if the vast majority watch it for like 15 seconds and just move along, you will still get a lot more people interested in checking your app out, downloading it, and actually purchasing things on it or using it compared to all those 5 second skip ads. So make sure your ads are fun, memorable, and unique. And these could honestly be just cool videos that y'all film. Finally, there's also re-engagement. This is very interesting. I'm not sure if y'all have phones. So if y'all don't have phones, maybe you use your parents' phone or someone else's phone or someone else's device. Sometimes you have like apps that are just lying there and nobody ever uses them. You want to make sure that your users are not just users who just downloaded your app and left it there. You want to make sure your users feel constantly excited and engaged by using your app. So re-engagement ads, these are aimed towards users who likely already downloaded your app. And because they already downloaded your app, they're more familiar with your app. They're more likely to actually, turn on their app because it's just a click of a button. All they have to do is just, click on your app and they can start using it again. They don't have to go through the process of downloading it, learning more about your app. They already know what your app is. You want to get them interested in your app. This can be done, through direct videos that are aimed at them, targeted marketing, or this could be done as well through through updates, new features that your app releases, and you can market this even further to these users. So yeah, generally speaking, you don't really target or aim towards users who've already downloaded your app because you really don't usually tell who's going to be downloading your app or not, who already downloaded your app or not, who is already an existing user. But by advertising to the general public, you're very likely to also do some re-engagement advertising, which is where as I said before, it's where you market your app to people who've already downloaded it and thereby more likely to use your app. So in short, paid advertising is all about you actually, spending some money, spending some of your resources and getting information about your app across many different platforms to as many people as possible. Finally, there are also organic channels. And certain apps out there, whether maybe you've encountered them now or maybe you'll encounter them in the future, such as like I think many of the Adobe apps or Discord, I think to some extent as well, and Roblox as well, I think. A lot of these apps are downloaded from website landing pages. It's one example of an organic channel. What the word organic channel means is it's just a natural way for people to install an app, without any direct marketing towards you. You're not trying to get them to click on a, button and take them to your page. They just naturally find your app and install it. You have social media marketing over here, which is basically where you post videos about your app. Now, this might seem like an advertisement, and in some ways it is an ad. You see many influencers who, talk about different products, but in this case, you're just aiming it to the general public. You're making a general video talking about how good your app is. It's not really advertising because, you're just telling everyone, whoever's interested is actually going to come naturally towards your app. You have content marketing, which is very similar. It's the only thing with content marketing is you're actually, creating content, different forms of content, and it's basically, yeah, it's very similar. You have influencer marketing. This is interesting, and this is getting more popular day by day. Influencer marketing is where you reach out to many popular influencers, whether on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, or any other platform, and even maybe even physical influencers. These are celebrities or anyone. And these people will actually talk about your app. Of course, you have to pay them. They're actually going to talk about your app, maybe do a walkthrough through your app, and it's going to spread your information about your app to their audiences. And this can be a really, really big way to grow fast and get some users. And finally, you have referral programs as well. This is where one user can refer a friend or whoever to your app, another set of users. And for every maybe user they refer, or every couple of users they refer, you give them special perks, special privileges. Maybe you give them $10 off per user on certain purchases in your app. That's referral program. And referral programs can be really useful because the person who's bringing more users to you, you mostly don't pay them. Instead, you give them special perks, so they have a reason to do it without you having to spend any more of your money or resources, and they're bringing users, for free to you. So all of these are great organic channels, and organic channels are honestly one of the most sustainable ways to actually bring users. Okay, and that's the end of the app development session. I want to also, conclude this though by mentioning that break this into small steps. If you once you launch your app, you don't need to go from 0 users to 100,000 users in like a day or even a couple of days. Take your time, break it down into milestones. Even bringing your first 5 users or even 2 users for that matter is a great achievement. From 5 users, bring it to 10 users. From 10, bring it to 50, 50 to 100, 100 to 200. From 200, bring it to 500, 500 to 1,000 like that. Eventually bring it up to 100K, and once you reach like 50,000 to 100,000, you've got a like fully performing app, and maybe even 10,000 for that matter, a fully performing app that you can now constantly iterate on, upgrade on. You've likely, if you have purchases in your app, or some of the other ways to make money that we've talked about in previous sessions, you'll likely already be making some money or some revenue. And using that revenue, you could upgrade your app even further, make it more useful, bring it to more users, and that's a app entrepreneurial success story. And yeah, I think I mentioned I'm going to wrap this up, but this is the last session, so I want to wrap this up talking a little bit more about entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship, at the end of the day, is you innovating, you creating a new solution or a solution to solve an actual problem, address an actual need. And entrepreneurship, the process of making money, marketing it to more people, ensuring that it's fully functional, often as a business. That's like a vehicle to carry your solution, your innovation to as many people as possible. An app is one great form, one great medium platform to do that. So yeah, that's app entrepreneurship in a nutshell. I hope you all have learned a lot, in the past 6 sessions. We've definitely talked about a lot, and I really, really hope that this kickstarts your app development journey and entrepreneurial journey. So with that, thank you.